bring the band in. Woo! Well, all right. Yeah.
Welcome once again to our second episode of Between Rounds. I'm John Crouch.
Mike Hamill.
And
Bryce, Misfit, no money, Meredith.
Oh shit, we got a big one today, boys.
Man, it's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
This is fun. One, I don't enjoy talking to you guys that much, so
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Getting us to force it in front of the cameras is going to be fun for
Well,
us.
this will be nice and short then, too. That'll be great. Okay, that's the end of our segment for today. Tell us about you a little bit. Like, just take us Bryce's life up to here. Give us the Reader's Digest, because we're trying to get people to get to know you. You know what I mean? Get to know the guys on our fight team. And so tell me about you.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Wyoming, in Cheyenne. It's the capital of Wyoming. It's a really cold, windy-ass place. A lot of people don't want to live there for that reason alone. So growing up there, I've always said I think it kind of just produces tougher people in a sense, because you have to be a little bit hardier. You got to be able to go out in negative 15 degrees. I think literally this weekend at my parents' house, it was negative 24 wind chill.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's a tough place to be from. And I was fortunate enough that I had a father that worked. He works outside still to this day. He's a construction worker, laborer. So growing up around that, him forcing you to come out and help you do all this kind of stuff in the cold weather, I do believe that it makes people a little bit more tough, and it kind of builds character in those different ways. And I watch him go to work at 5 a.m. every single day in the winter, unless it's really bad, but it's like stuff like that. So I think growing up in Wyoming, starting wrestling at a very young age, I think those are the types of things that kind of, made me who I am today. I believe that without wrestling, I have no clue where I would be. I really don't. I think I would be a pussy. I don't think am I allowed to curse a little bit?
You are.
Okay,
You would
yeah.
for sure be a pussy.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I'm pretty close to being a pussy
I don't know,
already,
with your
so-
dad, you're not getting away with anything.
No, he's a workhorse.
He's getting out at 5 a.m.
Yeah, so I think just growing up in Wyoming and wrestling, it kind of, does a lot for you. It produces, because I was also very fortunate. My parents were, very loving, and they gave me the life that I wanted. So then I think I would have maybe became a spoiled brat, even though I wasn't spoiled. But I think wrestling is a good, you know what I mean? It takes you away from being just given everything. Life is easy. So through all that, I wrestled. I ended up wrestling at the University of Wyoming. Did pretty good there. I got second twice.
all right.
Got second twice at the NCAA tournament, and was a 3-time All-American. And now I get punched in the face for a living. So it's been fun. And in my way up here in Phoenix, because of you two guys, literally specifically you two, 100%. I was in contact with Mike. We knew each other from wrestling in Wyoming and everything. So I contacted him. I went on a couple, almost like
recruiting
trips, and went across the country to look at other gyms, and was fortunate enough to have Mike, bring me in for the week, meet me, introduce all you guys to me. And I think it was very, very God sent, and it was very obvious that this is where I needed to be after I met you, and how I saw how you've ran this gym, the type of men that you bring into this gym, and the people that you allowed to be a part of it. Because fighting can pull in some weird people, and some of those people are good, and some of them could be a cancer, I think, to society. They are a little off. Too far off the path. Yeah. So the men that I've seen you guys bring in, and it was very obvious that this is where I needed to be. And just another way to even put the God, my wife didn't even have an idea of coming here, or we did, but then the college sent her an email and said a teaching job opened up in Phoenix the next week. So when that stuff happens, I think it's pretty incredible, the synchronicity of it all, I guess you could say.
I forgot about that. That worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Like her coming here and just made your transition easy.
My uncle said that to me once. He said, when you really decide what you want to do, the fates will show you the way.
Yeah.
And different way of saying it, but the same idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you have to put yourself on a path, right? And when you are putting yourself on a path where fate is it's kind of the fate that you're supposed to be on. It does open up everything, and it's weird. The more you start believing that it will happen, the more you pray on it, the more you put yourself in that scenario, good things come, right? Yeah.
So you feel like wrestling's been a big, like the major influence, obviously your parents, friends, family, but tell us about your career. Like you wrestled at Cheyenne Central, right?
Yep.
And you were a 4-time state champion there.
Again, just okay, huh?
Yeah. So it was kind of cool, actually. So wrestling, I think there was a lot of reasons why I enjoyed it. I think I was a very rambunctious kid, so putting me in a padded room, that's what I always joke about. Putting me in a padded room from the time I was 6 years old, I think is really, really good for boys and rambunctious kids. And then it's also a sport where it's very obvious that it's up to you, and you can be successful as being a small person. That's what I think is very, very unique about it.
Yes.
It's not a biased sport. You can be missing a leg, you could be 120 pounds, or you could be 240 pounds, and there's a place for you in this sport. And I think that was why I got really drawn to it, is because I was a rambunctious kid, I was a good athlete, but you're small. So it's like, what can you get drawn to? So, and also, I was pretty successful at it from the beginning, so that helps a lot too. Because
When did you start?
I started at 6 years old, and from the time I was 6, I actually never lost a state title in my entire life.
Wow.
Wait, you won it from 6 on?
I won freestyle, folk style, and Greco-Roman every single year for my entire life.
I don't think I won a match till I was 6. Because I started when I was 4, and I was so little I had to like cross the singlet straps.
Nice.
Singlets like didn't fit me. Like the legs were baggy. It looked like gym shorts. and
You
shit
didn't win
like
a match till you were 12, dude. Don't say
Might as well get it straight right now.
But for those of the viewers that don't know, like Wyoming little kid wrestling is big. Like I remember going to little kid wrestling tournaments and having like on a Friday, Saturday tournament for Greco, I'd have 30 kids in my bracket. For freestyle, I'd have like 50. You know what I mean? So you're putting in like all these matches because in Wyoming, what the hell are you gonna do? Like Bryce said, when it's negative 20 outside, right? Yeah. You're either gonna be working with your dad doing construction, or you're gonna be on a wrestling mat in a padded room getting your rambunctiousness out. So I'm a little bit older than you, obviously, but when you were like 6, 7, 8, did you have just massive brackets going to state wrestling?
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why wrestling's so good is you get to compete 10 times in a weekend, and throughout those 10 times, you most likely are going to lose or you're going to cry. If you want to see the most tears out of any kids ever, go to a wrestling event. They almost seem kind of almost like child abuse.
Yeah.
No, like child abuse.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like weird to watch these kids. They're freaking out. They're crying. The parents are yelling at them to not cry, or they're making them cry worse.
Yeah.
And so it's and that's why I think a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people go, "Oh, I don't like wrestling," and it's like, yeah, of course you don't. It's hard. It's not meant to be liked. Like, I think I would say this. I believe that wrestling, fighting in general, it's all it is a mirror. You hold up the mirror, and it's very honest with you. And of course, it will show you: are you being disciplined? Are you being tough? Are you sacrificing enough? Are you being intelligent throughout with your technique and your time spent in the match? And that mirror will be held up for you 24/7, and it shows everything that you can, and you can't hide from it. I also believe if you look at that mirror too long, that vanity can seep in, and so you have to be careful with that too. You have to. Prudence is this idea. It's one of the virtues, and it's one of the cardinal virtues. And prudence is pretty much having strict control of both sides, right? Like sometimes it's good to go full out, 100%. You know what I mean? Burn the boats and go. But then it's also good to know that you have to have other options and do this. And what prudence is having the balance between those two. So the statue of prudence it's a woman, and she's holding up a mirror, and she has a snake in the other hand.
Yeah.
So it's the idea of you have to check yourself, and you need to look at what's going on, but also keep deceit by its neck, because there's a lot of deceit in this world and stuff, and the snake and the devil. And I believe that fighting does a very, very good job at that. Wrestling, the same. They're the
most honest sports you can
the
get.
same thing.
Well, you're getting reality checked on a daily basis or an hour, minute by minute basis. Like you can be super successful for two minutes, and then all of a sudden the next hour is not good. and the last
Yes.
half hour goes pretty well, you know?
yup.
Yeah, I like that. Well, you wrestled at 2 different colleges, right?
Yep. So I went to North Carolina State my freshman year. I think I liked the coaches. It was a great scenario. It was a good thing. It was a good learning experience for me, though, because I realized I mostly made that decision for my ego, because I wanted to prove that I can get out of where you're from. I don't know why we have that idea where it's like you have to make it out. You have to make it to the big city. You have to make it to this. And so I was very egotistical in that fact that I was like, I have to make it out. I have to go to the East Coast. I have to do something different. And I'm glad I did it. It was one of the best decisions of my life, because once you get there, it shows you that that's all for ego, and it could be a good thing too for whatever your life path is. But for me, it made me realize what actually matters in this world, where it's my family, it's the people I'm around, it's the culture that you're living in, all those things. It really changed my mindset on it, and I believe that it made me mature so much as a man, but then also my gratitude at that point. And I think when you're maturing, right, when you're 18, you're not very good at gratitude anyways, just dumb kids. You just believe that the world kind of owes you, your parents should be doing stuff for you, all this kind of stuff. But when you finally get on your own, when you move across the country, when you cut a lot of weight in wrestling, that can show you a lot of truths.
You wrestled at 33 there.
33.
Yeah,
You
it's
looked rough.
Yeah, I cut it
Yeah.
It wasn't even that much weight, actually. I was only weighing like 147 pounds. So it still was like only 14, 15 pounds at first. So I was cutting weight, and that's probably where maybe the depression comes from more than the actual college. Maybe I actually loved North Carolina, but I was cutting so much weight that I couldn't even
Hard to realize.
I couldn't even look through those things. You know, all I wanted was to just be back with my people and everything. But I mean, I had a good, successful year. I was 14-5 as a freshman. I had a couple ranked wins and everything, so I did okay. But I didn't even qualify for the national tournament. The next year, I moved back to Wyoming. I transfer back to Wyoming. I move up a weight class, so now I'm not cutting as much weight, so that feels a lot better. That next year, I felt like I had to prove that I wasn't just moving back to Wyoming because I was a failure. So I had a pretty big chip on my shoulder, and I really wanted to prove that I was who I thought I was. And then I ended up becoming a national finalist the next year. So went from not qualifying to a national finalist. I would be fun to see like how many times that's happened. That large of a discrepancy.
I don't know if that has happened.
Yeah, it was pretty
Normally,
wild.
you see the people that take 8th, 5th, 2nd, you know, something like that. You see that type of progression. I don't know if you see people go from, hey, I didn't even make the top 33 guys, to I'm in the finals the next year on the big show.
Especially if it's like there was no injuries or anything either.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just,
Being happy in your skin and where you're at is so important for athletes, don't you think?
Yes.
Like if you're not, you don't even think about it, you don't even know it, but it's dragging you down, it's hindering who you can be.
Yeah.
So that must have been a big lift.
Yeah.
Like feel lighter when you move back to Wyoming.
Totally.
Well, and then I even want to like touch on the point because I feel like people are going to skip over this. The fact that you were saying that you wanted to do this because you wanted to prove it like to your parents that like the sacrifice was worth it. Like I remember when I was in college, I was such a dipshit. I was like, I did this all by myself. I was like, I'm here because of me. You know what I mean? Like I was so vain. I'm like, I'm the one going to practice. I'm the one busting my ass. No, my mom was the one that was working extra shifts to pay for me to go to big tournaments, right?
Yeah.
Like your parents like they didn't have to spend every single weekend in the shitty high school gym hurting their backs on bleachers and stuff like that. I just think that's a really mature thought that you had that at such a young age that you already had so much gratitude towards your family.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, yeah, it's gratitude. Shoot, maybe it's not even all gratitude if we're being honest too. Maybe it's like there's a place that it comes from an anger, and not even that you're angry at your parents or whatever, but just as men, I believe this to be very, very true. All we want to do is for somebody to say they're proud of us or that they respect us. I think that's our love language.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit about a compliment. I don't really care about that. I want to be told I am proud of you. And for me, it drives me to do that every decision I try to make in life. Obviously, I make a lot of bad decisions, but it's like, does this make people proud of me? My friends, my family, whatever. I want my dad to say he's proud of me, and I want my mom to cry because she's proud of me. And I think those are like the two things that are the most important in life. And those will put the guardrails up for you, right? It's like it's religion, those types of ideas, these virtues that you do, they're the good guardrails for life. And when you stay on those paths, and then you do it, a lot of times you go, well, that was a little bit better off for me and stuff. And you can't have vanity in it. Like you say, you have to keep that in check so often. Be very careful that you think the world owes you anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I did pretty good. Why don't I get this?
Yeah.
God, I didn't sin very much. Why don't I should get heaven. It's like, be very careful with how you think about that. And it's natural as we do it as humans because we are putting in the work. And like I'm saying, it wasn't always that mature. That was mostly the point. I think it comes from a lot of places. We're just trying to get there.
Yup.
Yeah, put our vanity away and put our
And then
gratitude up.
You had 2 more years at Wyoming, and tell us about those.
Yeah, so my junior year was it was pretty good. I blew my shoulder actually out in the first open tournament of the year. So I'm returning national finalist. I blow my shoulder out. It's kind of the first time I've ever had like a big long injury. You know, you get little injuries and stuff. But
Did you have surgery on it?
I ended up having to have surgery, but I waited till after the year. It was one of those things too. Looking back on it, you know, we thought about maybe doing an Olympic
medical
red shirt and going down that path. But for some reason, I just felt like I had good momentum. It hurts blowing up your shoulder, but I felt like it wasn't that bad, which sounds, you know, kind of weird, but I felt like I was okay enough to do it. So I fought through it, wrestled. I ended up getting 4th at the NCAA tournament that year. I lost in the semifinals, like a 9-8 match, pretty fun match, by a kid that whooped my ass as his freshman. Probably my worst matchup ever. The way he wrestled was just tough for me. And I thought I was going to get him in the national semifinals, but didn't end up doing that. And then I have surgery. So going into my senior year, I didn't wrestle the entire summer before. I took 6 months off, get my shoulder fixed, have surgery, and then, you know, there's parts of that where you go, like, man, I'm not wrestling. I'm trying to win nationals this year. I want to go and be the #1 guy in the country. And then I just spent the last 6 months kind of sitting around doing shoulder rehab. And so you have fears from that. But then I think what it did is it was the first time in my life I finally got to actually step back and just look at wrestling technique. What's going on? Why would I do this? And I always joke about this, but then I felt like it was the first time I really, really started making like my tree of knowledge where I go, this is my single leg branch. And then I let those branches off. If he goes A, then I do B. And it was the first time I finally just got out of let's just be a tougher, more athletic, better wrestler than somebody, and actually put it down into my brain as this is why we go A, this is why we go B. What are his options and what are my options?
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever did that. And then I think the success showed that the next year I ended up becoming the #1 guy in the country. I took 1 loss to Yanni Diakomahalis in the earlier year, but my senior year was a super fun year. I beat the #2 guy, the #4 guy, the #6 guy, all in one weekend. All in one weekend, and then that next Tuesday, we dueled Oklahoma State in my hometown, where I got to wrestle Dean Heil, who was the #1 guy in the country, who beat me in nationals.
2-time national champion.
Yep.
2-time national champion. He was on like a 60-some win streak or something like that, 57. And then I beat him. So I beat like the #1, the #3, the #5 guy all in the same weekend.
That's awesome.
What a cool
Pretty
place
much.
to beat him though too, right? Like you guys sold out. Was it your high school gym that you guys did that at?
Yeah,
I know
it
in
was like a
Cheyenne.
shared high school gym. It
Yeah,
was only
yeah.
for the city rivals
Yeah.
because it's a big gym.
Yep.
So they only used it for like Cheyenne East for Cheyenne Central.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool because I never really got to wrestle in there because wrestling is not a big sport.
Yep.
So they would only do basketball games in there. So as a
Yeah.
kid, I got to watch, or I would watch my friends
Yeah.
compete in this like bigger gym area, and I was like, damn, it'd be kind of fun to compete in
Yeah.
there. And then I, weirdly enough, got to do it my senior year in college. They do a satellite duel or whatever, where they
Yeah.
do a duel differently from where the college is.
Yep.
It's in my hometown against the #1 guy in the country who beat me for nationals. It's kind of like a perfect story. And like we said, if you stay on the path, fate kind of gives you some pretty fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that was maybe fate giving me like a tip of the hat, like, hey, this is your moment. You've done a good job at putting yourself here. Now go have a moment.
Step into
Yeah,
it.
Yep.
yeah, and yeah, obviously I had to win in overtime. This is a fucking tough match.
Dude, it was a sick ass match.
Yeah.
I
So-
just remember watching the crowd erupt too, because like the angle Flo had, I
that
watched
must
it
have been,
live.
energy must have been
Dude,
crazy.
and then like all like the little kids in the front row losing their shit. Like it's such a cool thing, especially being from Wyoming. Like I know you touched on this, but like Wyoming doesn't have a pro team, right? So the University of Wyoming, you're kind of their superstars, right?
You are the pro team.
Yeah, you are the pro team. And then having him be from Cheyenne, being the hometown kid, and then getting to avenge a loss like that, like it's a really cool thing to see. And I just remember like watching you like lift your arms up to the crowd, and little kids are like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah. Okay, so that made me think about something. It's kind of maybe a question for you guys too as well. But it's like I've always had a hard time enjoying the success of the things that I work really hard at, like wrestling and fighting,
Yup.
in the moment. I always tell myself, like, right when it's done, look around, enjoy it and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But it's so fleeting to me, which is maybe good because I don't want to sit with it
Yeah.
for too long.
Yep.
But then it's weird. I go freaking play an arcade game and you get excited.
Yeah.
And I'm like actually excited that I won.
yeah.
So it's like, it's still, I don't even know what my question would be, but it's so weird that like in life, the things that we work the hardest in, it just feels like, yes, I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right? It's
yeah.
like I did what I was supposed to do.
Yep.
And sometimes I look back on that one moment and I go, man, I wish I kind of would have like enjoyed it a little bit more, been a fly on the wall, or like
Yeah.
try to remove myself and look at it.
Yep.
Because, I mean, but that's just life. Everything's so fleeting. And that's why I think
Well, and I think some people will sit in that moment too long.
Too long, yeah.
And then they don't have success
yep.
later because they're still thinking about that
Yep.
moment they had.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could do it more.
Yeah. Well, you
You
and me
could
have
give
a-
yourself 2 or 3 minutes there for sure.
a couple more minutes. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah.
And
We
like
can
I
calm
say,
it down in the locker room.
I'm always grateful for it. I'm just, sometimes I feel like I need to try to find the excitement in it, but I don't know.
Well, a lot of
I'm
that's just
excited for the whole,
expectations.
yeah.
Well,
know?
being in your corner, though, I've noticed that about you. Because we get out of there, and Mike and I are fired up,
Yeah,
ready to
yeah.
throw our shirts off and
Yeah.
run around. And you come in and you're like, yeah, that was good. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
and me and Crash were like, what the hell?
Maybe this is part of it too. With wrestling, there was always like another match. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like mostly a tournament. So
Yeah.
you had 5 in a day. So I always kind of felt like maybe that's what it is. Is like I get done, because I actually felt like that the first couple times I fought. I'm like, so that's it? Like, we're
Yeah.
just done now.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing, no other tournament coming up, no
Yep.
other duel or whatever. It's just like, oh, we're done. So maybe I need to like for sure try to realize like
Yeah.
this is the one moment and it's the only thing
Yep.
that matters.
Yep.
And when it's done, you enjoy it. You don't have to go run off and cut more weight to go to
Yeah.
a weigh-ins the next day to wrestle
Yep.
again.
Well,
But
and you
I
got to
don't know.
look at like fights almost like that's your national tournament.
Yeah.
Right? Like we put in a season to go for this fight, and we put in all this work. We suffered all these injuries. We cut weight. We were pissy. We were mean to our coach. We were mean to our significant others. Right? We did all these things that we can
That
get
sounds
to
like
this
something
one
that's might have
spot.
happened to you before.
Yeah.
All right.
No. Yeah. You know, we get in this spot, and so it's like I feel like you and me have talked about this before, but I feel like when you do that, that is your nationals. It is. Crouch says it all the time. Like every fight's the biggest fight of your career.
Yep.
So when I win, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm the man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm also a little bit too much probably sometimes, where you're like the opposite. We need a happy balance in between.
Prudence, bro. We got to find the bad.
Yeah,
we got to
yeah.
get to the middle of it.
Well, and to kind of finish off, like, obviously, you're such a successful wrestler. You had such a great career. You're kind of an icon with that blonde hair, too. We'll talk about blonde Bryce here in a minute, by the way. But you wrote a letter to the wrestling community. You did it by video, but it was a letter.
Dear Wrestling, first and foremost, I want to thank you for the life you've given me. Not the wins and losses, but the purpose I have found in you. You've taught me what it means to be a champion. Not a wrestling champion, but a champion of life.
And I heard that, I read it, and it touched my heart, and I thought it was so cool. And
Yeah.
I didn't know who you were, you know?
Yeah, I felt like maybe that was one of those things about that fate, staying on the path. I feel like in wrestling season, right, we're like lonely. Lonely is the muse, kind of like we've been told that. And I believe that through the last 4 years of wrestling, thinking and sitting in your pain of cutting weight and all this kind of stuff, and the gratitude that I was feeling about my entire career, I sat down, I wrote that in like 20 minutes. It just came to me. It was like, it was like, I think God just planted that seed for me. He goes, this is pretty much what you've been trying to say for the last 4 years, and this is we're gonna put it in a poem. And I got it, and I finished it, and I look at it, and I read it, and I go, I think this is really good. But it was so fast, and it was just in my own head. I was like, am I just tricking myself? And so I didn't even read it to anybody. I was afraid, and I was afraid for them to change it.
Yeah.
Because I go, I think this is good, and I don't want it to lose the authenticity of
Yeah.
the moment
Yep.
almost, because it felt like a really transcendent moment, and I'm talking it up a little bit too much here. It's not that the poem is that amazing.
Yeah, but for you-
It's that good.
It's pretty good, right? And it was cool. And then I sat down, I read this poem at the NCAA tournament where they allowed me to read it. And I get done with it the first, and I go, oh, should we do another take? And they just go, no, it was perfect. So it was literally like one
First
take,
try, first
everything. It was all amazing. And then the amount of clinics that I got to do now because of that, because coaches looked at those, the words that I had for it, the gratitude that I had towards wrestling, the balance of the confidence that I was talking about, confidence is it's a battle between two forces.
Right.
Sometimes it's telling me I'm the best and I could be number one, but sometimes I'm on the verge of being insecure, an emotive guy that is insecure, and the balance of those two is how you get supreme confidence, something like along those lines. And I felt like when people hear those words and stuff in wrestling, they wanted me to come teach their kids, and because of that, and now I'm the most grateful for maybe even that. I've done probably 60 clinics throughout the country, probably more actually, the last couple, 7 years now. And the amount of kids that I get to hang out with, the amount of people I get to do has been one of the most proud moments of my life, because wrestling is, like we said, it's always been the mirror to me. It's always been about my selfish vanity, about what I need to do for this sport. And that was the first time in my life I get to give back to somebody, and these kids, and they give back to you just as much. That's the cool part.
I've seen some of those videos.
Yeah.
You guys are having a great time.
We have fun. I try to make wrestling, I try to make them think about it slightly differently than it just being all tough all the time, because that just comes with it. That is the sport already. You don't need to be told it's tough all the time. You don't need to be, it's already built into that.
Yeah.
I need to have, that's the default mode. I need to be able to put a mode into some kids this is making you into a better person. It is forging you in fire. It is allowing you to be with your brothers. Iron sharpens iron, and you get to become a man that you're actually proud of through this sport, rather than, I don't know, being somebody that you hate in 20 years, looking back on it.
Well, it's possible to find joy in that process too, as in
You have
fighting
to.
and in wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, I see how much fun, practices suck sometimes, and
Yeah.
they're hard, but finding that joy in the process, understanding what you're becoming, understanding the relationships you're making, and then letting that be part of it. And I think you've done a great job with that, as I see you go with those kids, man.
Thanks,
And
yeah.
that letter made a fan out of me.
Yeah.
Or the poem.
Made
I'm
me
sorry.
teary.
Yeah, I stuck
Yeah.
me. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you know this kid? This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I'll start crying when I read it. When
Yeah.
I read it to kids, I'll start crying sometimes. Right
That's
at the
awesome.
end when I say I want to make everybody proud, and this has been my outlet pretty much, and I love everybody I literally get emotional, and I'm like, dang. And these little kids don't understand that most of the time.
No.
Some of them do, and they enjoy it. They're like, oh, that was cool. Some of them are like, are you crying right now?
Is it
Why
lunchtime
are you
yet?
being a weirdo, dude?
It was
So-
like letter wrestling, Bryce's vows.
Yeah.
Bryce's vows.
Yeah, those were fun too.
Well, that was amazing. I thought that was an amazing kind of, not cap on it, obviously, because you still wrestled, but
Yeah.
boy, what a way to kind of put a
What a way to kind of leave your college
period
career.
at the end of the college
Yeah.
career.
Yeah, especially because I lost.
Yeah. You're like, at least I had
I
that
needed
shit.
I needed a little better
Yeah.
moment.
Well, hey, we want to talk about your music.
Okay.
Mike was telling me that you love every kind of music, and I think you do. And I've seen you do that Rage in the car. I want a little explanation about that. I want to understand it better. So
Yeah.
tell me about your music.
All right.
What it
So
means to you.
there's a couple things here. All right. So there's the poem where it's rage, like rage against the dying of the light.
Yeah.
Like pretty much do not go gently into.
Dylan Thomas is the man.
Yep. Right. So I that's kind of where I think I got the rage. Right. Like do not go gently into this world. Do not go gently to your grave. Like you need to take life and have fun with it and freaking rage. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's like. And sometimes rage comes from anger, and you can take that anger and you could make it that. But most of the time, for me, rage doesn't mean anger. It just means like enthusiasm towards the life, right?
Yeah.
Have some fucking enthusiasm towards this thing. This stuff is fun, and it's quite frankly the only game we're in right now. I don't know about the other ones. I don't know what happens, right? I have ideas where I believe I'm gonna go, but this is the only game that I'm going to play. So I'm gonna rage, and I'm gonna not go gently into into the night.
I love that.
The other thing with music and stuff, so I always say, I like this. If you're listening to hip hop, that's for ego. If you're listening to hard rock, that's for the soul, right? They all talk to different things. There's things that sometimes I need.
EDM, we're just dancing.
EDM, we're just raging against the dying, right? So for me, sometimes, and this happens when I'm warming up, this happens in life, sometimes I need to get ego inflated. I want my ego to get up. Yeah, I'm the man. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
I got money, I got this. Don't, but you know, that is a fun thing. And then sometimes I need my soul to be talked to, where it's like, I don't know why, but life just sucks, and it does, and it's gonna beat your ass down, and it's gonna be this, and you gotta like talk to the darkness of life as well, and that's what the hard metal will do for you. Yeah. It will make you talk to your soul, makes you go deep into the dark depths of your mind, and I think people need to spend more time there, but don't sit there too long too, right? I think people, they either don't ever talk to the demons of their brain, or they talk to them too much.
Yeah.
Prudence
Prudence
again.
one more time.
Yep, right.
Yeah.
It's just
Speaking of talking to
everything.
the demons, I went to a Motionless in White concert, and that is like, it's heavy metal, right? You know what I mean? A little bit of screamo. Dude's got a beautiful voice, but like they're getting it at the concert. Bryce's like, you want to go to this? I'm like, yeah, I like their music, but I've never been to something like that, right? Like I go to reggae festivals and EDM festivals, very different vibes, right? So I roll up to this place and like everybody's in black, they're moshing and stuff like that. And Bryce's like, you want to go get in the mosh pit? I'm like, yeah, like kind of like tell me like the rules about it. He's like, yeah, like if somebody falls down, like you actually like try to help people. You're not trying to hurt people. He's like, so you pick them up, you do this. And so we're like running around in a circle. People are pushing you. They're doing all this different shit. And I see this guy in a white shirt on the ground. I'm like, oh shit, help him out. I pick it up. And Bryce like, hey, thanks, man. And we just keep running. Somebody knocked Bryce's ass over.
Oh, you get tripped up a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so honestly, I believe mosh pitting is very similar to fighting, right? Like when people come and train with their brothers, it's a weird word, but I like saying that there's an intimacy to it.
Yeah.
There's a connectiveness, there's a unity. Everybody's in on the same, pretty much the same wavelength
Yeah.
and stuff, and you are kind of beating each other up,
Yeah.
but it's like out of fun and love. And that's kind of what a mosh pit is exactly too. It's people united under this trance that music does to us. It's the most insane thing that music does.
Mm-hmm.
It's a moment of perfection. That's why music, I think, is so liked by people. It's 3 minutes where you go, I don't know why, but it just feels perfect right here. And it's a transcendent of things, and that's why you do church music, war drums, everything comes back to the beat in music. And once you have that, once you get under the trance of it and there's unity, and you get some people like holding hands and singing Kumbaya, other people like raging, and they like pushing each other.
Agreed.
Because it's fun. And I think for a lot of those people too, because a lot of those people are very lost people, if being honest, people at rock concerts. There's a lot of people that are pretty dark, lost people. That is their moment that they finally feel like they're a part of something. And I think it does that to a lot of people. And so that's why, in general, music, when people like hate on any form of music, it's like, what are you talking about, man? Can you not see the beauty? Can you not see that these humans are finally not feeling pain at this one moment in their life? And in 3 minutes, they're going to be back to hating themselves, but allow that moment to fucking
That's awesome.
have
Dude,
a
I had
cool-
a blast there. I went back.
And we could go again.
I went back. I was all screaming at Emily when I got back. Not like fighting, but I was like, wah, 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 singing the song.
Yeah, I get Snapchats from I get a Snapchat from his wife, and he's literally just having a concert in their bedroom by himself at 12 o'clock, and she's like, "What in the
What
world?"
did you do to my man?
She's like, you
She's
ruined
like, I think he got possessed by something.
broke him.
Got possessed by the rage.
That's pretty cool. I never thought about that. I mean, I'm a musician. I grew up with music, and just those moments where you pull into the garage, but you can't get out yet because the song's got you. And I never thought about a mosh pit being like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Get the goosebumps when like everything's hitting at the right tone
I love
and
that.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's
chills are
awesome.
nuts.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, you start crying listening to music.
Yeah.
I'll listen to a lot of songs, a lot of rock songs. That's why I like them too, because these people, they're reaching out for something. A lot of times they're not religious, and it's almost more demonic sometimes. But I think in a way it's good to listen to for me because you can feel they're reaching out for God. They might be mad at God. They might be mad at the world. So they have so much anger in them, but there's a reach.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, I don't know why I'm so beat down. I don't know why the world did this to me, but
I'm still trying.
is there something here that can save me? And and it makes you start crying, and it makes you, I don't know, get the chills, and it's pretty, I think it's pretty special.
It's sweet. It's a sweet experience.
People that don't like music are pretty
Well, I'm
amazing.
gonna watch the videos with the new sense of purpose.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm gonna rage every day now.
Crowd's gonna be posting them on the lab page.
Hey, so we did an Instagram dive and got some old pictures that Mikey's gonna show you.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
want you
little
to just give
segment
us
that we're hitting.
a little background on these. See what you think.
All right.
There's one.
All right, so this is Bo and I at his wedding. Bo Nickel and I became pretty much best friends from the time we were 7 years old. I was pretty fortunate. We were fortunate. We only lived about an hour away from each other in Wyoming when he was a young kid, and our parents became good friends. We became good friends as wrestlers, and he's pretty much been the longest friend I have in my entire life, and we've had a pretty cool little journey. He's been a little bit more successful than me, but it's been on the exact same path every single step of our life. We both make the national finals the same year as each other. We both lose the first time together. Continue on. We both fight pretty much. We're both 7-0. It's like everything's been pretty. And then, so this is at his wedding. It's a little bottle of Dom Perignon. Enjoying ourselves.
The
That's like
Wyoming boys.
That's
Yep.
like the definition of you are who you surround yourself with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
For
Like
sure.
you and Bo, every time I'm around you two, and like people forget he's from Wyoming too. It's like this is who you grew up with. Like he was on the same path as you, helped you just as much as you helped him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's cool.
Bunch of
right.
Wyoming boys.
Yes, sir.
All right, so this was pretty cool. So we were in Egypt driving around, and we were in not a nice place, right? A very, very poor area. We see a bunch of kids playing soccer, and we were like, man, we should pull over and go play. Like, we should just go play with these kids. We get out, we go and play with these young kids. They were obviously having a ball. Like, most of the time, they just get excited to see Americans and stuff like that because they mostly just have been told about it, right? And then my wife is a beautiful blonde lady. They've never seen a blonde lady in their life. And I mean, maybe they have, but not very many.
Yeah.
They were swarming her. Me and their teacher, their coach, soccer coach, we were like, had to like start drawing rules and guidelines.
Yeah.
Like, you have to leave this woman alone. So that was a pretty amazing experience. You know, of course, just
Well,
this-
just these
I'm
guys
happy
stopped
right
and
now,
played
yeah.
soccer.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, they have literally nothing. It was one of those moments where they have nothing, and put a soccer ball with them,
And
Yeah.
they're good.
and they're gonna have fun, and they're gonna smile and enjoy
That's
life.
that fellowship, the music thing we were talking about before. Reaching for something together. I
Yep.
like it.
All right,
what's
and the
next?
last one.
All right. Okay.
Blonde Bryce.
All right.
Blonde Bryce.
Blonde Bryce. All right. It's lunatic sometimes. So that video was me jumping over a bull at Running of the Bulls in Spain. So Johnny DeJulius and I, we decided to go to Pamplona, Spain to run with the bulls. When you do the Running of the Bulls, you start in pretty much just an alley. It's like a long street alleyway. And it starts, and you have about a quarter mile or a half mile run through these streets. They let 6 bulls and 6 ox run down the street. The street running part is very, very dumb and dangerous because if somebody trips or
Then they
somebody
trip
pushes you,
Yeah.
you don't really have an out. So it's the bulls, obviously, are the danger, but the humans are the dangerous part of it. So you run with the bulls. We start on this. It's called suicide corner. So we started on this suicide corner. We started on the inside a little bit more, not the outside, because the bulls hit the corner and they can't stop very well. So they
Skid
are
to the
just
outside.
hitting
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hitting. So we do that. We're running with them. It's pretty fun. Keep running up this road. Keep running up this road. The bulls run way faster than you. So they're behind you for a short second, with you, gone.
And then they're
So it's a
past,
very
yeah.
short. So I was like, dang, that was kind of boring, actually. Like, I mean, it was fun. It was almost too much of an adrenaline rush, but it's only like 20 seconds of fun. You run up in this, and then you get into an arena. This is the part I didn't know about, and it ended up being you get into an arena, and they let one bull out at a time, and this bull just runs and
They're
just
trying to jack people up.
demolishes people.
Oh,
It is so bad. It is so dangerous. People are not paying attention sometimes because other people are getting hit. There was this lady, she might have died. She was trying to help somebody up, and this bull hit her from the back.
Oh no.
And she might have died. It was so bad. But
Dude, they are so big and strong.
so you're running around with them, you're whistling, doing this, and then eventually they kind of tire out, just like anything. They only got like a couple minutes of running them. So I kind of waited until these ones tired out, and I was like, I think I'm going to jump it. I jumped this bull the first time, perfectly clear it. I was like, awesome. I was like, okay, I have to get a video of this, right? Johnny, get a video of me. We're going to run.
Oh, so this is round 2.
This is round 2. So I had to do it again. So I was like, dang it, because I was like, I have to get on video. I run, I go to jump. Right when I do that, this guy jumps on the ass end of the bull. And so he jumps on the ass end of the bull. You can see it. That's why it makes the bull turn. He turns into me. I hit his feet, and then I land on the ground. And it was nothing bad, but
Yeah.
it was
Could
pretty
have
cool.
been.
But the ground is very hard there too. So I'm still falling from the height. I freaking hurt my wrist, dude. So but this was this was a pretty amazing experience. Afterwards, they stab the bulls and kill them in actual bullfighting. If you've never seen it, go watch a video. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, no, it is gnarly. It's
Yeah, it was. I didn't really enjoy it.
It's an odd culture that
part.
they've got.
But the running of the bulls part was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Once again, I just think, I think you can get a lot of bravery from everything in life, whether it's wrestling, fighting. I think putting ourselves into, I always say this, there's a difference between being reckless and risky. Risky is fine, reckless is not. Kind of prudence once again, right?
Yeah.
And I always say, find that line and walk it like a tightrope.
Yeah.
Because that is where life is lived, is when one foot's in the chaos and one is in the unknown, or one in the known.
Yeah.
If you have both your feet in what you know, it's not that fun. And your identity and your world can not be grown out. If you jump out into the chaos too much, it's where bad things happen. It's where you're being stupid. So the idea is to stay on the
Straddle the
one foot
line.
and straddle that line and try to expand who you are as a person, expand yourself in your identity. And I believe doing that through fun, adrenaline rushes is a good way to do that. I know a lot of people don't enjoy that, so they do it through other means, and that's just as well. But push out your identity. Don't be trapped in the circle that you've been known in your entire life.
Well, that brings me to researching this, like going through your Instagram and looking at all these pictures. There's so many amazing pictures. Like, it was super hard to choose which ones to get. And that, just seeing you like snowmobiling, jumping out of an airplane, up on top of a cliff, doing all these cool things. Is that what you're like? Tell me about that, because that's amazing. It was, you could go through, if I don't have an Instagram, but if I did, it would be pretty boring. It'd be like,
Nah, you do got an Instagram. It's with us.
oh yeah,
We're so exciting.
and that's cool. Those are nice moments. But I was surprised, and it was really fun to watch. You've been all over the world.
Yeah. Once again, I've been very, very fortunate through this wrestling and fighting stuff. 29 years old, and I always joke I've never had a real job.
Yeah.
This has always been what I've done my entire life. This is whatever. So just based on that, you get to do a little bit more cool experiences. You are more fortunate with traveling for wrestling, more fortunate, and then that also creates a wanderlust in us. And for me, I believe, I always say this, the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of God is already laid out in front of us. And modern man doesn't believe in God because he won't look low enough. And all that means is, look at the damn ground you stand on. How is that not a blessing? How is that not the greatest thing you've ever seen? How is this jumping out of a plane? You can experience that for $200. Yeah. People in the past world had the worst lives ever. They were only trying to survive. Yeah. We can now pay $200 to fly 15,000 feet up in the air and jump out. I think it's a disrespect to your soul, yourself, as to not go out and try new things, to not push out your identity, because they say this, when you put yourself in those situations and when you are brave, you actually wake up DNA that is almost not alive in you.
Yeah.
So I say the more you do, the more you wake up this DNA, so you are actually becoming more the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
You are actually becoming a different human being. And I truly, truly believe that, because when we look around at humans, you can see very quickly who has the light in them and who does not. And I believe you should, the more, and like I said, you don't have to go jump out of planes, but the more that you are grateful to people, the more that you try new things, the more that you have a wanderlust for life in the world, you have a light in you and it shines and people can see it instantly. There's a glow to people that put themselves in those situations. There's a glow when women are pregnant. They say there's a pregnant glow because they are radiating life. That is what we're doing. And we also know the people that walk into a room and you go, get that person away from me.
Yeah.
He is dark, he is gray, he is this. So for me, it's almost like a little kid joke. This little light of yours, let it shine.
Yeah.
And I believe that. And people, most people die at 25 and don't get buried till they're 75.
Speaking of your light shining, I feel like I see it most in you when we're outdoors, right? And like you've got some crazy stories when you've been like outdoors and stuff like that. You've had some crazy fun trips. I know you recently just kind of got into hunting and stuff like that. But my favorite story I think when you're outdoors is when you and Johnny went up on Flat Top.
Square
Square
Top,
Top, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So Square Top Mountain, it's in Wyoming. Lived in Wyoming my entire life. It's on one of the license plates. Didn't even know it existed. And I'm an outdoorsy guy. I couldn't believe it. So we find it. It's in the Green River Lakes, but it was pretty much one of the most amazing experiences I ever did. We had to canoe back, I don't know, 15 miles or something. It's insane.
An
or
insane
whatever.
amount.
Yeah.
And like the stream wasn't
Too
it's
much
not like it was
canoeing.
Yeah,
More canoeing
yeah.
than you'd normally want.
So, and the water is the bluest Gatorade blue water because it's like snow melt off and stuff. So it's the bluest water I've ever seen. You're on this little canoe. You're going up. It's the biggest mountain. That's a big square. And it's one of those mountains where pictures does not do the justice because the grand size of it when you get there is amazing. We ride all the way down in there. All this day, we camp out there. We hike up this thing. It took us literally like 12 full hours to hike up this. We're
Gnarly day.
boondocking. It's bear season, so it's pretty scary time too. You know, it's like a lot of grizzlies in that area. So I'm walking around. I got a gun in my backpack strap.
Yeah.
Just flopping around. It's the most unsafe thing ever. But it was ridiculous. But I was like, I have to have this thing close. But I didn't have the right pants on, so dumb. Once again, we're off trail. There's no trails. Because one, we couldn't find it, so we're just bushwhacking up.
So
through
is there a trail that actually
Supposedly
goes?
there is, but we couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So we're going up. We get all the way to the top of this mountain. It was amazing. We're coming back down. It gets dark. So now it's dark. We did all this work. We're pretty damn tired. We find our way back to our camp. Our tent is in the river.
I forgot about
It
that.
got windy. It blew in the river. So now our tent and all of our stuff is wet in the river.
Oh,
We take a little bit of a walk. Our canoe is gone. We go, what the hell? So we were like, where is our canoe? And so we would have to walk now 10 miles at night with like our gear kind of wet and messed up. We're like, oh man, this is gonna
Malnourished at this point too.
Yeah, and we really didn't. We were not planning accordingly. Of course, we're just being idiots, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't really have any good food, just bull crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think I was eating like a Reese's at this point.
Oh, so the main food groups.
Hey, all I'm
Okay,
saying
yeah.
is
It
I
was
want to
good.
fight after 8 Reese cups.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually, it's probably is the best energy source. But so then we're like, oh man. So we start packing up. We're like, don't know what we're doing. We start walking. So we're just like, I mean, we got to get going because. So we started walking down this path. We see some people with like some lights, and we're like, oh, there's like people up there. Well, we had like no idea. Well, I mean, we're just gonna say hello. We're walking by. We start talking to these people. Oh, what are you guys doing? 'Cause it's fucking 10 o'clock at night in the mountains, in the middle of nowhere at this point. What are you guys doing? And then we're going, and then we're like, yeah. I'm like, somebody stole our canoe.
Oh, it was them.
And they go, what? And they go, yeah, we just thought it looked so cool with the red canoe and the blue water. They were like, we took it and we were taking photos. And they just took our canoe a couple miles up and then just parked it and left it. And I was like, what is wrong with you people? I'm like, how would you ever take somebody's canoe and then just
Not put
leave
it
it
back.
and not put it back? One, don't take somebody's canoe. And they were like, well, it was just kind of hidden in like the brush, so we just thought it
Yeah.
was like stuck there. And we were like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stuck it on purpose.
Yeah. So we get back. We finally get into our canoe. We're going out. It was like, you know, you're in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. Wyoming has the least amount of populated state. There's all the stars that you could ever see above us, right? we're sitting there. You hear fish jumping in the water because, like, you know, they're just eating. And it was like one of these most like grateful moments ever in my life. And then something happens, and we still don't know. It almost looked like at this point now it would be Starlink. You know how there's all the satellites in a line?
Oh, yep.
But this one didn't seem quite like that. So we're sitting in this big mountain range, right? And we look up, and you just see like, boom, 1 satellite, boom, 2 satellite, boom, 3, and they're just going faster than shit, going all this kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, this is looking pretty crazy. And I'm like, please, like alien something up here in the mountains. I'm like, this would be amazing. My
Got my canoe jacked, aliens.
Yeah, my other buddy Jake Ryan, his dad's the head coach at Ohio State wrestling, but he was there too, and he was like, no, he was getting kind of nervous. He was like, no, those are planes. Those are planes. I'm like, no, brother, you can hear planes easily when you're up here in the mountains. He's like, no way. A minute later, you hear a plane going, and I'm like, I told you, bro, you can hear planes. I'm like, those aren't planes. And he's just like, well, I don't know, man. I don't know. So it's getting scared. And I'm not joking. There was probably like 50 of these things went over our head, and they're going way fast. Still don't know what it was, but it was like just a perfect cherry on top.
I mean, if they are aliens.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, probably just Elon Musk being a nerd, but doing his thing. But it
No
was,
way, it was definitely aliens.
yeah, and so like I say, like once again, once you're on that fate, it'll bring you cool stuff. If you just go out and you live in this world, you will see cool stuff. And it's always that the people that do the most things have the most. Their eyes are open. They're not, you know, eyes wide shut type thing. They're not that. They're open. They always seem to have cool things happen to them.
Yeah.
You're like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. How did that happen to you when you were at the gas station? You're like, I don't know. I just was out doing it, and I was rum. And life just like brings you stuff. And I think that's like where everybody's got to do it. Like just put yourself in these situations, and you'll be blessed.
Cool things happen.
Yeah. You'll
Now
be
wait,
blessed.
did you get your canoe back?
Yeah, we got it.
And then
And then we were paddling out.
So how did they get in? Did they just walk in?
Yeah, they were just walking. They're just on a backpacking trip.
Oh, shit.
So they were like, oh shit, this could save some time.
Dude, and like,
Steal somebody else's canoe.
well, dude, and it's like people in the wilderness, like when you're like in like camping or like hunting areas, it's like such a level of respect that people have. You don't mess with people's shit.
You're trying
you
to
could
take
go.
care of each
yeah,
other.
you could go rob them, right? But it's like they always say, leave the place better than it was. Like how you have the locker room thing. Like that's what you do when you're hunting and you're camping and you're in the wilderness like that. You do not steal somebody's canoe.
Yeah.
Like they would have got their ass beat.
If they're paying, if they're listening to this, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop stealing.
They're
people's
probably,
canoes.
yeah. I mean, that's probably, maybe that's the dangers of what I'm saying is everybody go out and do stuff. Go have fun. Go live
Yeah.
life. Learn the language of everywhere you go. If you're in the mountains, learn the language of the mountains. Don't steal people's canoes, okay?
I think that's the moral of
Yeah.
the story.
For real.
So hey, your MMA career, where are we going now? What's going on? Do you have some goals? Are there thoughts you have of going in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think,
What's your record right now, right?
yeah, so I'm 7-0 right now. Everything's been going pretty good. 5
Pretty good.
finishes.
Five
we're
finishes.
on the path. For me, I
It took
think
Mike 7 years to get.
I think I have 5 finishes right now.
yeah, we're gonna get some more. I'm actually pissed off there's not 7 already. So, but whatever. For me, I think the goals are always pretty simple. Be the best. I think it's pretty. I think I think I do this lifestyle and I do this or whatever because I think it would be such a disrespect to myself, my abilities, the blessings that have already been given to not keep pursuing this because I mean this in the nice. I just feel like a lot of times I'm better than people at this form of sport. I think I'm better at digging in and being tougher than people. I think I can learn things pretty well. And I also say this, battle of prudence, I'm also a pussy and I'm scared all the time of fighting. I'm scared of wrestling. Not really, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to think that way, and that's why you train. It's because you're scared. And I think how you gain confidence is by just keep training, keep going. So for me, I think everything has always been very, very simple. I don't really set goals too much. I don't think, I think a lot of times too, if you set too many goals with timelines and then injuries happen or this happens, you can really derail yourself. I think it's pretty simple. I'm going to be the best person I can be, and the best Bryce is better than a lot of people at this sport. And
It's been shown already a few times.
and I'm just going to keep proving myself right, proving other people wrong, and proving. Actually, I don't even have to prove a lot of people wrong. I've been very fortunate. A lot of people I have to try to prove right, because they all believe in me. I have a lot of people that believe in me in this world. They always think I can be the best. So now it's my duty to prove them right. I think a lot of people always go, oh, I got haters, I'm trying to prove them wrong. I don't have shit. I don't care about those people.
Yeah.
I care about the people that I love, and those people love me and they believe in me. So now it's my job to
Well, it's
keep
that
proving them
following that positive path and keeping things going.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you start down that negative thing, you start talking about people think this, it doesn't matter.
right. Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Spiral up, right?
Well, you know,
Jacob's ladder.
this whole to close this thing out, something that I admire, you talk about seeing the light in people. When you walked in, I saw it in you. I was immediately attracted to your energy. You're such a good dude. You know, obviously super talented, blue chip kind of prospect for MMA. But it's something that I admire about you is your resiliency. But through this talk, you kind of have explained it, but
it's already explained it, yeah.
that's what makes you who you are to me. It's not your wrestling, it's your ability to kind of persevere in the good times and the bad. So what do you think about that? Do you feel that?
I do, 100%.
Your good humanness comes out.
Well, thank you. Like I said, man, the blueprint has been laid out for me in the Bible, and I think the more I look into that, into the resilience of what Christ was like, I mean, he literally came here as God, came in human flesh, and he died the worst death you could ever live or die. I think that's a pretty good example of resiliency. And actually at church yesterday, it was pretty cool. It was, I can't remember what verse it was in, but it pretty much said, you have until sundown to be angry. And then after that, it's gone. And it's like this idea of like anger, broken hearts, these types of things from the sport, from this. You have until sundown. And then if you keep holding on to it, the offense of the loss, I'm offended of who somebody treated me or whatever, now that is where you give the space to the devil. And I believe if you don't do that and you just wake up every day and you are just happy to be here and happy to be around people, I think resilience is easy. You have to wake up and put your fucking shorts on anyways. So put them on and don't have shit in them, right? Like, don't poop in your pants all day.
Tell that to Mike.
Yeah.
Yellow
Mike
in the
needs some
front,
help.
brown in the back, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know. You can't hold on to anything in this world. Everything is super fleeting. So all you have is today. There is no tomorrow. There is no past. You can't get anything of it. So we're here right now. Enjoy it. You got 24 hours to enjoy this. Be a light to people. Be kind to people. Beat up your partners so you can get better and they can get better. It's all just a building. You know what I mean? You can't just go vertically on your own. You got to go vertical, bring everybody else, bring horizontal, bring your family in, and then we go up again. And then we get more.
Repeat it,
and then we
repeat
go
it.
more.
Yep.
It's a tree, right? If a tree just goes straight up, it's not going to have anything to stand on. And I think that's what, I don't know. And like I said, I'm just blessed. I have people like you guys that you guys have the light. I get very excited when I come into the room and I get to see you and you're appreciative of me and you're appreciative of your job. You're appreciative of everybody that works at this gym. Same with you. You come in, you're excited to talk to me. You're excited to be my friend. You ask how I am. You were in my wedding. Your wife was in my wedding. Our families, it's simple. You have good people in your life. You're about to have a baby, another blessing. God.
About to be another uncle.
How dare I complain, right? How dare I ever say anything bad about anybody? How dare I don't know. I just think life is a blessing. And trust me, I fucking hate it sometimes too.
Yeah. But
You're
I mean,
in.
I think
You're in.
it's awesome. I think more people could use an outlook on life like that, right? It's super refreshing to hear. The world's so negative, and it doesn't have to be, right? Get off your phone.
It's
go
not,
go in
dude.
the mountains. Go live life a little bit, and I promise not everything's as bad as you think it is. Life is freaking great, and it is what you make it, right?
Go get your canoe stolen.
Yeah, go get it stolen. Go have fun. Go get lost in the mountains with your friends. Do something like that, but go out and do what you love. And I think through this interview that we've done with you, we've figured that out, right? You can find love in music. You find love in your family. You find love in the little things. You find love in the process of life, right? You can find all this life if you just put down your phone for a little bit, get off social media and go
After
live the
this
world.
podcast.
Yeah, after this
After the
podcast,
pod-
please
yeah.
be on your phone.
Jesus,
Please watch
Mike.
us.
My phone's pretty fun most
Yeah,
of the time.
yeah.
I see stuff that I like.
Yep.
But yeah, really do appreciate you guys. Appreciate you allowing me to come on here and talk, because a lot of times when you're doing this, you're trying to figure things out yourself. When you speak out to people, when you speak out to your friends, a lot of times you don't even know what you're saying. You're just figuring it out, and you throw shit at the wall, and some of it sticks and some of it doesn't. So I appreciate you guys being an ear for me, and I appreciate the life that you guys have given me. Like I said from the beginning, you two are one of the two main reasons why I moved here, and the last 4 years of my life has been amazing. And
There's
it's
more
not
great
going
stuff
anywhere.
coming up. Yeah.
We're just still riding that river.
Is that in a
Yeah.
canoe
Yeah,
in somebody
in a
else's
canoe.
fucking canoe?
I was like, I know where
Somebody's
I'm going
gonna
with
steal it
I wanna-
sometimes.
I want a little bit.
No, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
And I liked how you summarized it, how pretty much everything we say, you just got to find the love in the little things. And that seems to, I don't know, seems to take care of half the battle.
Yup.
Well, you're the man. Thank you for coming on.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Thank
boys.
you.
Love you guys.
And hey guys,
Love you.
do us a favor. Let us know which one of your favorite stories Bryce shared with us down in the comments. And let us know who you want to see next, right? Like I said, we're just trying to get this thing rolling. If you give us a like on that, it helps out a lot. Click the subscribe button. Maybe get alerts so you know when we're coming out with new videos and stuff like that, because we love everybody at our gym and we love everybody that we're bringing on, and we want you guys too as well.
That's it. Episode 2's a wrap. See you later.